What's up guys, Techder here with a new video. In the video today we're going to take a look at the Muzen cyber speaker. So while I was unpacking this speaker, I've noticed a few things. The packaging is really great. You get a bag, you get a box around it. Inside the box you do have a charging cable, a manual, and yeah, I really like the design of the packaging. And the speaker is something special. For example, you have a fidget spinner on the front, or fidget spinner, I just like to call it some kind of tool to hurt your fingers. Just kidding. On the speaker you also have a flashlight. So the funny thing about the speaker is it really is meant for outdoors and on your bag. So you can hook it up to your bag and then you can take it with you. The battery life is, I believe, with the lights or without the lights, not really the best or the worst. You can use USB Type-C. It's also waterproof. And yeah, if I push this button and I keep it pushed for a time, you can see you have the flashlight on. But you don't really have to start the whole speaker. So we turn off again. And then we're now going to start the speaker. So then you have to press this button down. And then you can see some light. And there is a light. So some kind of beacon light. You can also adjust the lights on the front. So now it's like fading different colors around. But you can also do this one, then it's one whole color changing. And also this one. But you can also turn it off. You have to press the button. And then the lights go off. This is the best for the battery life. Also with other speakers I've noticed when you have those LED lights on, the battery life is still alright, but yeah, you do get a lot of less playtime. But overall I do think it looks very cool, and I will compare it with other small speakers. These small speakers are not the same price, they're completely different, a lot cheaper even, but I just wanted to get kinda the same size comparison with it, to see if the audio inside this small package is really great. So yeah, let's get right into the testing with those speakers. So now we're going to do the comparison. So as I mentioned before, the speakers are much cheaper, but it's just to see if they can perform even a little bit similar to the cyber speaker. So as I mentioned before, the cyber speaker is a lot more pricey, but it also has to do with design and build quality. For example, it's fully built out of metal. You really have some kind of tank design, and with those other speakers it's always plastic or even very cheap rubber material. But let's just see how the sound performance is. Of course we'll start with the cyber speaker, so let's go right into it. I will turn it all on around 89% to keep the distortion levels also limited. So after doing this short audio test, I've noticed a few things. These small speakers are not the best, but also not the worst speakers you can buy for their prices. But sometimes you really have to argue about how good a little bit expensive speaker is. So the Cyber speaker, I have to be honest, it's really loud, keeps clearness really great leveled. Bass you don't really have in the speaker, but I don't think it's really necessary for outdoors. The volume is the most important thing. With Throne Smart, for example, you get some mid bass or muffled bass, but it isn't really clear, and also the volume isn't really there. It isn't really loud. With the X-Dobo, you do get a lot of clearness, and the mids I do prefer a little bit, but as with the Throne Smart, the volume is just not really loud. Of course you have some volume, but it isn't the loudest speaker I've heard for this size. With the AY, I have to say the audio quality isn't really great, but it really has a decent bass response. So let's go back to the conclusion. Audio test, I've noticed a few things. So this speaker, this Muzen Cyber Cube, officially the name, it really has impressive audio. And of course it's much expensiver, or it costs a little bit more than this three, but you definitely hear it in the sound quality. For example, the X-Dobo, I really liked it. But now if I hear this speaker, and the size is almost similar, it is definitely falling behind. But there are a few things I've noticed. For example, the X-Dobo, I do prefer a little bit the overall mid performance, but it's really a small preference. The Throne Smart, I have to be honest, as I mentioned before, it really looks great, and even the setup inside with the speakers could have been really great. But it also lacks a little bit of volume, and bass response is really flat on this one, even compared to the Cyber speaker. So and again, I do think it's really alright for 20-25 euros. The IY is a little bit an older speaker, a design speaker, so it has been out for I believe many years now, also under different names. And this speaker has something funny. The overall audio quality is not really great. I already tried different EQs. The problem is it has one tweet on top, and that speaker also trying to produce bass. So as I mentioned before, and as you could also see in the audio test, the bass response is really good on the speaker. You can see it also moving, but because the passive radiator has here some kind of airflow, and you really feel it and hear the bass a little bit, and that's really incredible for the size. But you do lack audio quality with the with the speaker that's on the upper side. So with the Cyber speaker, I really noticed that for bass you don't have to buy this kind of speakers. But for loudness and clear audio, and even I would say almost high definition audio, because really it sounds very clear. Of course, if you put it on max volume, like with these other speakers, almost with every speaker you get distortion. But if you have it on 80-90% volume, you really get a really great audio performance. And I do think with the design, with this audio performance, I do think it still is very cool to have. And we can have a big discussion about the price, but it really is built like a tank. It's really full out of metal, no plastic materials, maybe a few buttons like this one, but the rest all really feels great. And even this fidget spinner on the front, even though it maybe is a little bit unnecessary for the audio performance, it is really strong and goes very lightweight. You can even put another speaker on it and will still be able to turn around. So it's really cool, this thing is really built like a tank. So for example, you can do this, and then you have a turning speaker. So design, audio, I'm really impressed for it. And especially the packaging, the overall experience with the speaker. It does give you the feeling that even though it costs money, like every other speaker, it really is recommended for this kind of situation. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and see you guys around.